Okay guys, here is our first foldable on compound inequality. So today we're looking at the OR type of compound inequality. So you can have two inequalities that you connect with an or with an and, okay? So here we're looking at type 1 where we have x is less than 4 or x is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so first let's look at what this looks like in set builder notation. Okay, where we have we're gonna have a curvy bracket, whoops, to open it here. So open with a curvy bracket. As you might remember from the notes, we write your variable first and then the long bar that says all values of x such that, and then in the second part of the set builder notation, you're just going to be entering in your inequalities here. And with these compound inequalities, with the compound inequalities that have or, you're just going to write it exactly like you see it up here. Just like this. Okay, so we'll just write x is less than 4 or x is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so make sure you are keeping the same direction of signs and the same type of signs when you are moving from your inequality notation to your set builder notation. Okay, so set builder notation is not that scary. It's just popping those inequalities into the second half of there with the curvy brackets. Okay, so this is your foldable. This one that we just did is going to correspond to this first graph over here. It just looks backwards because it's not folded correctly. So let's go over to the graph here. So we're going to look at this first three number lines, and I'll just write again what our inequality was so we don't have to go back and forth. So we had x such that x is less than 4 or x is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so that's our inequality. So let's look at graphing these. Okay, so there's 3 lines here because we want to look at graphing the first inequality, then the second inequality, and then the third graph here. We will combine them together. Okay, so I'll just do this with the highlighter here, I guess. Okay, so x is less than 4. Okay, so our dot is going to go above the 4, right? It's going to be open because it's not equal to, it doesn't include 4, it just goes up to it. So we have an open dot. X is less than 4. Okay, so the arrow is going to be going this way. Okay, just like that. That's it. If we were to graph x is greater than or equal to 6, our dot will be above 6 and it's going to be closed. Okay, and then our values of x are greater than, so we're going to be going in the right direction to the bigger numbers. Okay, and so this last graph is actually going to be the actual graph of the compound inequality. So this first two is just showing you how to graph them individually, but when we graph a compound inequality like this, we're actually going to show both arrows, both types of circles on our number line here. Okay, so we'll go back to blue. We're still going to, we have this open circle here and this arrow going this way. And then we're also going to graph this other one here. Actually, let's do this in the same color so we can see. Let's pick a good one here. How about pink? Okay, so this graph is going to be the graph of the compound inequality. So we're going to have this one as well as this one. Okay, so you're just going to have 2 arrows. You're going to have 2 arrows here representing each part of the inequality. Okay, so that's the first type here. Let's look at a second type of compound inequality. Okay, this is where we have x is greater than or equal to 4 or x is greater than 6. Okay, so looking at set builder notation, we have x such that x is greater than or equal to 4 or x is greater than 6. Okay, so in our video tomorrow, when we look at the actual notes for this, we'll talk about interval notation here. So we're doing set builder notation right now, and then we'll be doing interval notation. Okay, so let's see, let's graph this one over here. So this inequality, I'll just write it off to the side again, was x such that x is greater than or equal to 4, or x is greater than 6. Okay, so let's do this on different graphs again. So x is greater than or equal to 4. So our dot's going to go above 4, and it's going to be closed, and it's going to be going this way to the bigger numbers. Okay, on the second graph, let's graph our x is greater than 6. So above 6, we're going to have an open dot, and we're going to be going this way. And you can see here that we're going to be overlapping, okay? And that's fine. This is what it's going to look like. So let's graph the first one, closed circle over 4 going to the right. And then over 6, let's just count an open circle and then another arrow going that way. Okay? And really what you're going to see here is that x is actually just greater than or equal to 4. Oops, to 4. Okay, so now that we can see that x is going, it starts at 4 and gets bigger, and then it says, well, it also starts at 6 and goes bigger, but doesn't include it, but 6 is included in this first one. So we actually we're not going to write it like this, okay? We're just going to write how this way, how it includes everything, and you can see that from the graph over here. So let's go back over here to our set builder notation for this one, and let's rewrite it. X such that x is greater than or equal to 4. All right, let's look at our scenario number 3, okay, where x is greater than 4 or x is greater than or less than or equal to 6. Okay, so let's graph this one first and see what we have here. Okay, so let's graph the top one. X is greater than 4, so open circle at 4. We're going bigger this way. Okay, the second one, x is less than or equal to 6, so closed circle over 6. Going to the left. And it looks like we're overlapping here. Okay, so if we graph these together, we have an open circle here going this way, and then a closed circle here going this way. Okay, so even though we had an open circle here, it's actually being filled by the other side. And then all of these numbers that were greater than 6 are also being filled by the other one. So what we have here essentially is an arrow that's going in both directions forever, covering every number. So the way that we're going to write this is, so in set builder notation, so if we were to just say this, right, this is going to be all real numbers. Okay, in set builder notation, it looks like this. So we have an open curvy bracket x such that x, and this little curvy e means x is an element, and then we put the real number set. So this is exactly how you write all real numbers in set builder notation. X is an element of the real number set. Okay. So our 3 scenarios here is we have where we'll write this with the 2 inequalities. If we have a graph that is being separated here, we'll write the inequalities just as they are. If we have a graph that's going this, both sides are going the same direction, we'll write it as just the one that covers the most. And then if they're overlapping, going in both directions, this is how we write that. Okay, so let's this inside here is asking you to write inequalities based on these word problems. So this is really good for you to try on your own. Okay, and then if you're struggling with these, you can come ask me in class.